tremendous looking trophy.
One of the Platinum Explosion number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blanton. Welcome to 2022. Joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be back talking about PlayStation 2022.
I was like,
no jokes. Sorry, Michael, I didn't think.
no zingers to start off the year. Is that because like a sign that there will be no?
No, there'll be zingers.
I was about to say, is there a new? It's a new Ashley Hobley for 2022. You know?
So excited to be here. You know, as PlayStation's going to shit. No. As PlayStation's ramping up. As part of the Rebel Alliance against Xbox. Yeah.
Well, you've always been part of the Rebel Alliance. To be completely honest.
Now we're even more rebelly.
It's true. First thing I was going to say is, have you done that PlayStation, looked at your PlayStation review thing or whatever it's called?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to say now, it's shit. My stats are not right. There's not very good stats in this. And I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to start the year straight away with criticism of PlayStation. This, compared to nearly every other service's year in review thing, not having it. It's not good.
No.
You got yours up? Here's mine. All right, well, here's the main things.
No,
I just screenshotted some shit because it's fine. I don't need yours. I don't care. Here's why I don't like it. Let me run you through. 598 total hours played. Could be. That's fine. Hours breakdown. 347 on PS5 totals, 251 on PS4 totals. Cool. 505 hours played locally, 148 total days, 93 hours played online, 0 hours in VR. That all seems fine. In 2021, you played 36 games. Seems low, to be honest, but all right. Number one game, Apex Legends, 85 hours. Seems right. Seems fine. Number two, Death Stranding Director's Cut Digital Deluxe Edition, 52 hours. No, that's not right. I played an hour or two, maybe. I've popped up. I think it's read the trophies because like it auto popped the plat, right? And I played it for a little bit, and then it came out at a weird time, so I didn't actually get to go and do all the other trophies and do all the extra content, whatever else we wanted to do. Nonetheless, I have not played that game for 52 hours. So the fact that I've got a game in at second with such a glaring inaccuracy that I 100% know is not even close to correct. It's not like I played it for 2, it said 5. Maybe I'm wrong. No. I played it for a couple hours. I did not play it anywhere near to 52 hours. So if that's wrong,
everything else
is fucked as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what to trust.
I think the most glaring thing for me was it said I played Apex for 77 hours, yet I only played online games for 46.
A lot of time sitting in menus, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know how that works out. But yeah, the rest sort of looks right. Kinda. But again, I'm like, I just feel it feels off because the Death Stranding thing. It's like number 3, Returnal, 46 hours. It's probably right. Number 4, Call of Duty Vanguard Cross-Gen Bundle, 32 hours. Really? Number 5, Biomutant, 32 hours. Maybe. But the Death Stranding thing, I'm just like, nah. So anyway.
It brings everything else into question.
Yeah, it brings the whole integrity of this thing is fucked. So first, what do we want to see out of PlayStation in 2022? I want to see
better
my
stats
fucking correct at the end of this year, coming into 2023. Because it's bullshit. I like these things. It's very disappointing to not want to share them. You know, I see everyone on Twitter last week or whenever sharing like, oh, here's my thing. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. Log in. I don't trust this. I don't want to share it. I don't feel like this is exciting to share. You know, I'm happy to share my tracked stats. That's exciting. They're pretty good. I mean, we have some things we want added. Go check out latest episode of What Do You Want to Watch, episode 101. Spotify stats, always fun to share every year. PlayStation stats, cooked. Nintendo stats, don't even give us to them in Australia. Xbox stats, doesn't do it. I mean, PlayStation's doing it, but they're not good. So who's winning there? Xbox again. Oh, the war's just begun. The battle of 2022. Console wars finally ramping up, Anyway, in a trophy cabinet this week. Bronze trophy for pouring one out for Activision. Silver trophy for Horizon trailer. Gold trophy because I've streamed Horizon. For me, I get that one.
Whoa.
And a platinum. 2022. As it felt like. And
Just with 2022 in general.
I'm preemptively just like awarding the year a platinum. It's like good vibes, I think, maybe.
Platinum vibes only.
Hang on, Nathan! Rise up! I got this! I don't got this!
Oh, that was a close one, huh?
All right, let's talk a little bit about Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. I've been playing this the last couple of days. I may or may not have a review out by the time this drops. Most likely not, to be honest. Probably soon. The long short of it is this isn't a massive do-over package. Hardcore Uncharted fans, you better rush out to pick this sucker up because there's so much new in here, so much exciting. This is just a coat of fresh paint. It's a very nice looking package. However, I'm going to get out the door straight away and say that there's really no reason for people who have played these games in this collection, which is Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy, to run out and pick these games up as be-all, end-all, amazing upgrades, especially if you had a PlayStation 4 Pro when you played them or anything like that. I mean, if you want to replay them, obviously these are going to be the best versions. If you've never played them before, these are going to be your best versions. There is a weird sort of upgrade thing for this too that's worth mentioning. So I think the game itself, the package is like $70 or $80 or some weird price, like retail. You can upgrade if you own both games already digitally or disc. I think it's $15. If you do it via disc, if you have both games on disc or whatever, or one game, I think or something like that. Of course, you have to keep the disc to be able to use it. If you have both games digitally, I think you just pay $15. You get a free upgrade. Another thing is, like, if you pre-order it or buy it in the first week, you get a movie ticket to the upcoming Uncharted movie, which of course we're all excited about. It feels like it's a weird tie-in because it's obviously supposed to be released in tandem, or obviously releasing around the same time as the movie as sort of like a movie thing. I feel like this was done for the movie, not for really any other reason. Like what's new here is, let's lay it out. It is, you've got three visual modes, which are I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just called Fidelity. So that's 4K, full 4K resolution, targeting 30 frames per second. You want it to look really pretty? Here you go. And it does look really pretty. It looks really, really great. Like, the game is beautiful. It looks Uncharted 4, it's been a while since I played it. I think it looks slightly better than my memories. Lost Legacy I only played a year ago, so that's more. That one I already thought looked better, slightly better than 4 anyway, being a more recent game. But then you go to performance mode. This is what I've primarily been playing on. So performance mode is the targeting. I think let me just double check the official wording because I think they say targeting, just to clarify. Yeah, performance mode targets a 60 frames per second frame rate. So performance mode, much like other similar games, is using the adaptive or slight off. It's not full 4K, and then you but they drop it down so they can reach 60. Performance mode. That's the one that I would suggest playing. That is, you barely can notice difference. Like, I flick through so many times between fidelity, performance. Every now and then I'll be like, yes, there was a thing. I noticed instantaneously. Other times I'm taking screenshots to compare them and be like, okay, so like in the distance, yes, visual fidelity is lost of this. Okay, yes, like this weird cross-stitching on Drake's jumper isn't as high a detail in the performance mode. But ultimately, in game, playing the game where you're probably not going to be thinking about these things, you're not going to notice, and it's going to play so much better at 60. It feels so much better at 60. The third mode, you need a HDMI 2.1 TV that's 120 hertz compatible for this mode. So this one's probably going to be the one that most people don't get to check out, but it's really interesting. It's the first time Naughty Dog's done one of these modes, which is a performance plus mode. It is 120 targets, to clarify, 120 frames per second, but as far as I saw, it never dipped. And then it is at 1080p resolution. So there is a huge, this one is when you drop it down to this mode, you do notice straight away the visual difference between this and performance and fidelity. Like it's really noticeable. Not to say that suddenly the game looks ugly or horrible. It still looks good. But when you're dropping it down from the 4K modes or close to 4K modes, depending on where you're going from, it is highly noticeable. Once you start playing in it for a few minutes, and if you play in this mode, like I think I played maybe 45 minutes straight, maybe a little bit, yeah, probably a little bit less than an hour. I decided to put a big chunk of time into this and what I've played so far because it's a really interesting mode that I have the ability to test. So it is ultra smooth. It is jumping between 120 to 30 is horrible. Dropping between 120 back to 60 is noticeable. It is really that thing where I quite often say that I'm the person who, for games like this, I used to say this. I think my tone still changed. I used to say that for games like this, I would prefer visual fidelity. And to a degree, I think I'm still a yes on that because my preferred mode is performance because it looks better than the performance plus, but I've got 60. It feels good. However, I could never pick to play this in fidelity mode for that slight increase in visual fidelity, because to me, going from 60 to 30 is not worth the slight increase in how the game looks. However, it is, as I'm saying, 120 is butter. It is really, really good. But I would still prefer to have the visual fidelity provided in just performance than the ultra smoothness that Performance Plus provides. Although I can understand if some people don't care. I know some people obviously frame rate is something they care more about. So I'm really just in the middle, but it is really, really good. So that's the standout thing I would say that's in this collection is the Performance Plus mode. Especially for the new consoles and stuff, being able to play Uncharted at 120 frames per second, really good. I was popping off headshots left, right, and center. It's jumping around, like just climbing and stuff. It just feels so good. It's obviously it's hard to explain unless you play it or see it. And again, seeing it doesn't really help. You kind of have to. I feel for people who don't understand, it's like you have to feel. You have to be inputting the motions and just feel how great it is. What else is new? So 3D sound. It sounds really good. I honestly couldn't tell you if it sounds any better or worse than the original mix of the game, but it sounds really good. In my mind, it always sounded this good. So it's one of those hard things where, playing with headphones on, getting that 3D audio, maybe I'm underappreciating it, but it is really good. And then you've got haptic feedback. Haptic feedback's good. I think maybe it could become, it's maybe a little bit too over the top for some people. It may fall into that category. So some guns, like pistols, you have little feedback on. However, so these are adaptive triggers. So adaptive triggers stuff, the pistol, not much. But when you're using something like a machine gun or shotgun and stuff like that, they've got a lot more tension and kick to them. Like especially you're firing the AK-47 in the game, and yeah, it's you can really feel and even hear the triggers going. I don't find it a problem personally, but I know it's one of those things that ever since PS5 released a little bit over a year ago, of course, lots of discussions about if it's crap or good or whatever. But yeah, haptic feedback, there is stuff. So most notably in the Jeep. So you're driving the Jeep around, and there's this subtle feeling of the motor rumbling in the car, you slam the brakes on and stuff like that, you get a slight feedback of that. I haven't really noticed anything else much, and I don't think there's much audio coming out of the controller, at least that I noticed. But to be fair, I barely ever looked for that. I took my headphones off once. Otherwise, I just playing everything with headphones on, so I wouldn't have noticed it. But that's it. I mean, my overall thoughts are that these are two really good games. Uncharted 4 is an amazing game. Uncharted 4, I love. I don't want to like come in this and be like I'm being negative. I'm not being negative. I'm just trying to be realistic with this collection. And if it's something that people should run out and buy, and to that I'm saying no, especially unless you haven't played it before. At which stage, fuck yes, go buy the game. Uncharted 4 is amazing. I love Uncharted 4. Lost Legacy was good. I didn't like love it or anything. I don't have as much attachment to those characters. I thought it was fine. However, Uncharted 4 is my favorite Uncharted game. So if you haven't played that, you're for a great time. If you've played these games before and you really want to upgrade, there's nothing else coming out soon in a world where Horizon's out in a couple of weeks. Sure. Whatever else, there's a bunch of stuff coming in February. But if there's nothing else coming out soon that you care about and you would love a reason to replay Uncharted 4 and maybe The Lost Legacy, then go for gold, especially if you're able to upgrade for that $15 price. But for people looking for major improvements over the releases, any brand new features and stuff in this game, no. I do have one major negative though, and it's a trophy list. And you knew I was going to get to a trophy list eventually. So trophy list is this. Let me set this up. I assumed, maybe wrongfully, I don't know, I think I was in the right, that the game would have two platinums. And I was hoping I could import my save and get a free plat. Woe is me, right? You can import your save. The majority of my Uncharted 4 trophies started popping. I was like, cool, free plat. It stopped. I looked at the trophy list. It's like mostly just miscellaneous. No, it's all just miscellaneous combat stuff. And then like weirdly a couple things like get the Marco Polo trophy and stuff. Although some of those other missed trophies have popped. But all the combat ones hadn't popped off my save file. So I was like, that's fine. Like the crashing trophies there, the speedrun trophy, you know, like all the collectibles are still there. I can just chapter select some stuff and, you know, play through the game, get some of these naturally. Totally fine. So we're doing that, going through it. I get like I don't know, like 5-6 through. I decided to check the trophy list again after a few hours of playing or whatever. And I realized hidden down the bottom, I was like, I'll check trophy list. I'll check the Lost Legacy trophies as I switch over to try that game out, right? So I go over to Lost Legacy, check it out, bunch of trophies start popping. Now, I never platinum Lost Legacy. I wasn't expecting a plat. So I open up the trophy list and I'm like, oh, the Lost Legacy just comes up as a DLC inside the trophy list. Bit disappointing, but at least I should be able to get the Uncharted 4 platinum and then I'll just leave Lost Legacy. No worries, right? I'll just leave the DLC, whatever, Uncharted 4. It's a platinum. I play a little bit of Lost Legacy, messing around. I'm spending not as much time here because I played it recently. I'm like, yeah, cool. Like playing through, drive around the Jeep, solve puzzles, shoot some things. Fine. I'm like, I'm going to go back to Uncharted 4 for a little bit. So I jump back into Uncharted 4. And again, load times are super quick, obviously. So I'm quitting to main menus and switching games, and it's easy. It literally takes maybe 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds to switch the games, I would say. I laid back into Uncharted 4. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll try and get one of these trophies. Like, I think I had like a stealth one or something from memory. So I was like, I'm in the stealth level. I should check the trophies. So I go check the trophies, scrolling. And I spot something down the bottom. It's a gold, I think, trophy. It's a silver or gold trophy at the very bottom of the list that says, earn all in the Uncharted 4 list. In the list with the platinum, at the bottom is a trophy that says, earn all of Uncharted Lost Legacy's trophies. So to earn the platinum trophy in Uncharted The Lost Legacy Collection, you have to... Sorry, Legacy of Thieves Collection. I'm confusing words. In the Legacy of Thieves Collection, you have to have... Basically, you have to platinum Uncharted 4. You have to then platinum Uncharted Lost Legacy and do one platinum. I was a little bit annoyed, to be honest. I feel like, so they've chucked, that's the only new trophy in the Uncharted 4 So no multiplayer trophies. There's no multiplayer here. Instead, they've chucked in a trophy for earning all of the Uncharted Lost Legacy trophies as a requirement to earn the platinum in an Uncharted 4 thing. Not a fan of that, obviously. Don't like that. Doesn't really affect the overall thoughts in the game. Collection's great. You know, thoughts stand. Don't buy it if you don't really need to, etc., etc., etc. Trophy list, not a fan. However, if you obviously if you have popped, if you've previously earned the Lost Legacy Platinum and the Uncharted 4 Platinum, you're good. We should be good. I assume if you have a similar experience to me and you've got both those Platinums, you'll have to re-earn combat trophies, Uncharted 4, re-earn some combat trophies in Lost Legacy, but then off you go, right? I think you'll just be right then. Pop off. Get those, you earn a platinum. So it'll be a little bit easier for you. However, if you're someone like me who never got the platinum in Lost Legacy, there's a little bit more work. I don't know if I can be bothered. It's a lot. It's two games worth of platinuming for one platinum. A bit annoyed. Anyway, that's all my thoughts on the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. Again, I should have a review up soon. Even though I'm being like slightly, it may sound like I'm being negative. I'm just being like real. I would say my score would still be high, solely because, or high-ish or whatever, because the games in the package are great. The games here are, you know, really some of the, especially with Uncharted 4 here, it's like one of PlayStation's best games. So overall, the package, of course, is fantastic. With what the games they contain, however, with the new content here and the price and everything, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Is it worth upgrading for that price? $15? Yes. $75? No. Or whatever the price is. So that's my overall thoughts on the collection. It's good that PlayStation, thank you PlayStation for dropping that code in a couple of days ago, because it worked out nicely. I could just delay the episode in time for the embargo. And it's our first episode back for 2022. So we've hit an embargo straight away. Good job. Anyway, Frozen Wilds, sorry. Okay, I think it's because it starts with F that every time I go to say Frozen Wilds, I just think Forbidden Wilds.
Forbidden West.
Forbidden West, sorry. We'll talk about Forbidden West in a little bit. Whatever. But yeah, I finally streamed this past weekend Horizon Frozen Wilds. Alright. To be honest, I don't think I played it probably the way that it's intended, which is, you know, explore, take your time, do the side quests, blah, blah, blah. I was there for the story and the experience only. More or less to get that shit done. But also, I didn't feel like and this is the thing, if you've heard me talk about this DLC numerous times in probably the last 18 months, I would say, and how should probably play that. The asterisk has always been that I read when the reviews dropped, how many years ago, for the DLC, everyone's complaint was, hey, it's kind of hard, or like it's like end game content. Plus, I hadn't played the game for like 6 to 8 months or whatever, however long it came out after, and I can't remember how to play the game, so it was a real struggle. So I was always like, well, I don't remember how to play the game, and the longer I put off playing the DLC, obviously, the more it was like, well, I ain't gonna play it. So in case you missed the stream, twitch.tv/Explosion Network. You can find the whole thing. The VOD will be there, of course. And follow the channel for future streams, of which should be some. Don't know what. Should be a thing. But check that out. And then I start the DLC. Now, to start the Frozen Wilds expansion, you have to, it's like there's a bunch of icons on the map, characters you can go talk to. It's very obvious where the DLC part of the section of the map is because it's all grayed out or whatever. Not uncovered. No, it's uncovered. It's not. Yeah. Head over there, talk to someone, blah, blah, blah. They go here, start the first quest. Now, as soon as I had to fast travel to this place, there's the pterodactyl flying creatures. I don't know how much you remember this game. You remember there was like flying ones? Do you remember these?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do you remember how to take them down?
Nope.
Yeah, that's my point. So I come in and I'm like trying to shoot him with normal arrows or whatever, doing like 5 damage. Try and shoot him with electric ones because I'm thinking Pokemon, electricity beats flyers. That doesn't work. I'm trying to strap him down. I fall off the side of this like small rock. I try to jump back up the side of the rock. And then I suddenly remember that Horizon is a game in which you constantly get cock-blocked by small cliffs that you can't climb up for some reason. And that was a whole thing I forgot. I didn't really forget. But that was a whole thing. So I'm like, nah. I'm going to run past them. I run past them to get into the DLC area. I start at the Frozen Wilds. We're officially in Uncharted territory now. First enemy shows up, some tiger-looking thing. I don't really know. Shows up. I'm like, all right, I'll give it another go. And we're on normal difficulty. Give it another go. I die in like 10 seconds straight. I'm like, how the fuck? So at that point, I decide if I want to finish this DLC before this game releases, it ain't going to be on normal. So we switch that shit straight to story mode. And that's how we played the game. Story mode. So if you're out there like me going, yes, Dylan, I too would love to go play Horizon for Frozen Wilds prior to Forbidden West releasing in just, 3 weeks? I think. Something like that. You can. Switch to story mode. Enjoy the experience and don't get fucked by the combat. It's a great time. I was discussing on stream how I feel like DLCs like this this is my number one complaint. DLCs like this should be released very shortly after a game releases. If you're going to have them be endgame content, especially if your game, I was saying how you can release DLC for a shooter a year after because all shooters more or less play the same. You release Call of Duty DLC, it's like, how do you play it? I don't know, you shoot things. It's fine. Release Battlefield DLC, it's like, how do you play? You shoot things. The buttons are the same. Horizon is a game in which it had very specific combat mechanics for its game, at which I completely forgot how they worked. So I was very confused of how to play. However, switching to story mode, everything seemed to do damage. You take a lot less damage. I don't know if you can die, to be honest. And then if you headshot people, boy, power. That's all you really need. I don't think it mattered what arrow I was using. Maybe it did slightly, but just taking down enemies left, right, and center. Good time. Overall, the DLC story was fine. It takes you through. Oh, I don't want to spoil that, I guess, in case people do want to play it prior, I guess. But it's more or less just an expansion on everything you'd learned, I guess, from the main campaign. You meet some new interesting characters, like part of a tribe or whatever, I guess, from that section of the world, that section of the map. It's all a little bit different environmentally because it's frozen, of course. I don't think there was any new mechanics. There was some new monsters, at least one, that the game makes sure to clarify, hey, that's a new creature. I'm like, okay, very good. But yeah, I enjoyed playing it through it on story mode because then I just sort of got to go through the motions, be like, oh, this is a pretty world, take some quick photo mode snapshots here and there. Off stream, I fucked around for another like 15 minutes, just like checking out the world a bit more slower pace. I was like, oh, it's pretty, but cool. Checkbox, done that. Do you want to go do this or what? How are you feeling?
Maybe. Now that I know there's just an easy mode that I can just jump in.
Took 4 hours roughly.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, but it's going to take like 4 hours to install and download the updates and everything. So
that's your fault, not mine. That's Brisbane's fault, not mine.
It's the Australian government's fault more than anybody else.
That's ScoMo's fault, not mine.
Fucking ScoMo.
Actually, I guess it's his government. It wasn't his direct fault. He wasn't. He wasn't there at the time, I guess.
No, I think he was.
Wasn't it Abbott?
Like, isn't that the thing that he was in charge of the NBN or something?
Was he? Fuck, I didn't think he was.
I think.
So, must have missed that. I'm not up to date with my politics.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think he was in charge of.
He was in charge of something, and then it went wrong, and then he blamed somebody else for it. But he was in charge at the time.
That's his entire career.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, if you decide to download it, yeah, you can blast through that shit. So that's all right. Definitely set up, ready for Horizon. Have you been playing anything you want to talk about, or?
Over Christmas, I platinumed Miles Morales.
Oh, nice.
Finally went through and did that New Game Plus, you know?
Is that the only thing
It's
you was
Christmas.
missing? New Game Plus or?
Yeah, and then I think I just needed to beat... There's like a rocket game during one of the flashback things that I didn't do. And then like some Venom attack that I needed to hit 3 people with at the same time. So yeah, knock those out. Yeah, that's the fun, almost similar 4 or 5 hour experience. If you power through just the main story. Yeah, it's fun. Good times.
That platinum's a lot more enjoyable than the first game.
Well, it's easier, so
It's not even
you don't
like
have to collect all the photos, and there's not as many collectibles and stuff.
there's not as many collectibles, but the main thing that made the original one,
Oh yeah, that's right.
it was the random activities that was fucking dumb. Like, I think I would have spent several hours in trying to get that first platinum. I think they've patched it since then to make it easier or something like that, or make them more occur more or something.
Yeah.
But at the time, trying to platinum it like a maniac, you know, swinging. I would have spent hours probably just swinging back and forth, like literally one end to the city, back, forth, and no random activity popping up. It's like, oh my god. So, good times though. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You got a platinum. Proud of you. I didn't get any platinums on my break, so you're doing better than me. Was that in that was in 2022, right?
No, it was 2021.
Ah, fuck. All right. I was about to say you got a platinum in the year before.
I got
I've got a
a
platinum in
lead,
the year. Damn.
No, there's still time.
There is still time. There's still time. I haven't earned one for this year yet, so. But to be fair, I think I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know it's a PlayStation podcast. I know it should be like, oh, look at all these PlayStation games I played over the last couple of weeks since we've been off or whatever. First PlayStation game I played on my PlayStation in like the last 3 weeks was on stream. I played shit. So, them's be the breaks.
Them the breaks, yeah.
I'll tell you what I will be getting though. Can't talk about it this week, unfortunately. We'll talk about it next week because I'm planning on buying it. And presumably platinuming it, which is the Artful Escape. You gonna be getting that?
Maybe.
Oh, come on. One of my favorite games of the year.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Arrives on PlayStation. And you're telling me you're not going to play it.
Well, what's the platinum trophy like? Do you know?
I looked at the PSN profiles. I haven't compared, but like from memory, it looked exactly the same as the Steam list. And I 100%ed the Steam list. Without even trying. Oh, no, hold on. I had to go back for 2. But I did it to 100%. But either way, it was like an extra 20 minutes after I finished the game. So, not going to be hard. I'm just saying. Putting that out there. Putting that into the wild. Let's talk about PlayStation news. Of course, the main thing, if you want to hear us like deep dive in this, like more widespread, if somehow you don't know, I guess, but Activision has been purchased by Xbox. Oh, what are we gonna do? PlayStation's never gonna survive. Oh no. Oh, I don't know what the reactions are. This cool article though, I thought this was a good one to sort of bounce off. So DualShockers has an article up called "What Does Microsoft's Acquisition of Activision?" Wow, tongue twister. Mean for PlayStation, written by Kyle Knight. So, here's I'll just read this and jump on that. Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, has confirmed that they plan on continuing to make Activision Blizzard games available for PlayStation consoles, as well as creating content exclusively for Xbox. So, does Sony need to retaliate with their own acquisition, or do we just all pretend as though nothing happened? Where was I? What does the Activision Blizzard acquisition mean for PlayStation? When Microsoft purchased ZeniMax Media, the owner of Bethesda Softworks, back in 2021 for a massive $7.5 billion, it didn't take long for Sony to announce that they had acquired Fabric Games and Bluepoint Games. Of course, the acquisitions were likely in the works long before Microsoft announced their purchase of ZeniMax, but it does make us wonder if Sony also has plans to purchase other developers in the near future. Sony could come out swinging a purchase of publishers such as Rockstar Games, but would it really be worthwhile? As I mentioned previously, Microsoft doesn't have any intention to steal titles away from PlayStation community, as a representative from Microsoft has clarified by saying that, quote, Activision Blizzard games exist on a variety of platforms today, and we plan to continue supporting those communities moving forward. The acquisition is about increasing the availability of Activision Blizzard content across more platforms, including mobile. In reality, the only thing fans can expect to see change is a lot of Activision Blizzard titles joining Xbox Game Pass, as well as Call of Duty and PlayStation marketing deal likely coming to an end. This means the small perks such as PlayStation having 1 year exclusivity on the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 survival mode will no longer exist, among other things. Before Call of Duty and PlayStation struck up a partnership in 2014, Activision's popular FPS series had an exclusive deal with Microsoft back in the days of Call of Duty map packs. Xbox users were able to purchase the new DLC 1 month before PlayStation users. Other than these sorts of deals, we don't expect massive titles such as Call of Duty to be turned into Xbox exclusives. As noted by Charlie Intel on Twitter, Microsoft would lose a substantial amount of profit should they remove Call of Duty from PlayStation consoles. Year after year, Call of Duty has remained the best-selling PlayStation title of the year. This would be a lot of money for Microsoft to turn away. So the big question, just to go for first, is do you believe that Xbox will make any Activision games exclusive to their platform? If so, what ones, and what do you think the rules would be?
I think, most games will be. I think most of their games will be Xbox exclusive. Like, I think obviously Call of Duty, they're going to keep putting it out on PlayStation at least for the foreseeable future due to those deals, and just because it is the highest selling game, why wouldn't you continue to make it the highest selling game and sort of subsidize your Game Pass to a certain degree? I think I wouldn't be surprised if something like Overwatch or something that's like very multiplayer driven that maybe isn't Halo. It's like, let's just get as big a player base as possible on this game. And that sort of thing. What I think, but then that's kind of it. I think everything else will probably be kept exclusive.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like Call of Duty is the only one that I feel either they're going to like keep it on PlayStation, they're going to do some weird thing where they're like, hey, the single player campaign is sold separately. Like, they're going to do the thing that fans have sort of been asking for years, and like separate them and keep one exclusive for Xbox or timed exclusive. I feel like Call of Duty is going to have some thing,
benefit.
Like some, like if it's not fully exclusive, there has to be some benefit to Xbox players.
Spider-Man will be exclusive to the
Xbox version. That makes sense. That does make sense.
That's the only way you can play.
That's the only way you can get one back.
Call of Duty and Fortnite. Yeah. Only way to play Spider-Man.
That's fine. That adds up. That would actually make perfect sense. But the rest of the games I would say are 100% exclusive going forward. That's your Crash, Spyro, whatever the hell else, Tony Hawk. That's all exclusive. I really don't feel like that's like, I know people act like those franchises are the massive, like they were when we were kids, like Crash.
Yeah.
Yep. But when they put out Crash 4, sold all right. Or Crash 5. What was it actually? Was it Crash 4?
Yeah, it was Crash 4.
Fuck.
Yeah, Insane Trilogy.
Yeah, and then because I couldn't remember if there was an official thing, but all of those they sold okay. Well, actually, the Insane Trilogy sold like pretty good, but then 4 sold okay. But like, it doesn't sell numbers that they would be like, oh, I better keep it on both platforms. It's like, nah, if you're a mega hard, diehard Crash fan, either buy an Xbox or get Game Pass on PC or buy Game Pass and use Xbox Cloud, whatever shit, to play it on your iPad. Like, I guarantee at some stage in the future when Phil's trying to clarify to, like, in a nice way, not specifically saying PlayStation fans, but like obviously speaking to PlayStation fans, I guarantee he's going to have this same conversation on stage where he'll be like, buy an Xbox if you've got a PC and also xCloud. I guarantee they'll lean heavily on xCloud as to you don't need to buy an Xbox. They'll be like, look, xCloud. That's going to be their sort of crux as to, we're not stopping you from playing. xCloud's highly accessible. You can play it nearly everywhere. You know?
Yeah.
Even if
when you think about it, this deal really doesn't affect PlayStation hell of a lot. Like, other than Call of Duty, there isn't like many franchises that Activision Blizzard have that are big on PlayStation.
Call of Duty is the only one, and then Spyro and Crash have a legacy, but it's a legacy that I think people are overreacting like they are still like it's not 1996 or 7 anymore or whatever. It's like it's not 2001. It's like people are like, oh, these are PlayStation franchises. They were exclusive for their first original trilogies, and since then they've had games on. They've been multi-platforms. They've been on Nintendo consoles, the spin-offs. They've been everywhere. It's only those 3 core original games that everyone rightfully so associates because they're the best ones from both franchises. The 3 original ones to PlayStation. However, both of those collections that recently put out, were they PlayStation exclusive collections? Can you only buy them on PlayStation? No, they're everywhere now. Like I understand that I do understand as someone who associates Crash and Spyro as PlayStation because that's where I played them. They were like the mascots of those, those consoles to me as a kid. However, they're not that anymore. They're not the mascots.
No. And
Sony wouldn't even want you to think of them as mascots of PlayStation because they have their own characters they're trying to make mascots that they own, like they don't want you being like Crash as a mascot.
Like Astrobot.
Yeah, like Astrobot and whatever else. They want you to think of Aloy. They want you to think of Ellie. They want you to think of Astrobot. They want you to think of, at some point, Sackboy before he died. Like...
What?
There was a point there where Sackboy was the mascot, and then he had a sack death, I think. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But Drake, obviously, was like... They want you to think of their characters. Who they put in the trailers. Kratos.
Yeah.
Not fucking Crash and Spyro. So...
Yeah.
And then the other big question, I think, when it comes to the PlayStation, I think everyone's been discussing, what should PlayStation do? Should PlayStation retaliate by buying a studio? What do you reckon?
I mean, if they've got the money, why not? I guess it would improve like stock prices and like kind of make people happy, but I think they're running their own race and like they've got their own plans. They've obviously got a bunch of like second party deals, get like exclusive games. Like obviously they got the deal with Square Enix currently for Final Fantasy 16, so that's a big deal. They've made deals with a bunch of like startup indie companies with AAA like experienced people. Like there was that one that they showed off at Gamescom. I can't remember what the name of the studio is, and they've got, what is it, Jade Raymond's deal with her studio. Mm-hmm. A whole bunch of like those sort of deals that I feel like obviously will come to fruition in the next year or two. So they're obviously investing in these games, but they're not investing in the actual studios themselves.
No.
They're playing a different game, or different strategy,
Xbox has, here's the thing, by purchasing things like Bethesda and Activision, Xbox is really going full ham, buying entire fucking companies and everything inside them. Whereas PlayStation, other than when news happens like, oh, they brought Insomniac, everyone's like, I know Insomniac, that's big news. We got Bluepoint, cool. Probably expected that, but cool, we know them. The other news that's been coming out from them that we discussed throughout the last 12 months, last year on the podcast, it was always random studio no one's heard of. But them obviously making smart business choices that are purposeful for what they like, helping set up their structure. I can't remember their name, but the one that's going to do all the remakes and stuff.
Like Nix's?
Nix's, I think that's it, yeah. Stuff like that. And then, the stuff you mentioned. So they got other deals where they're like, Jade Raymond, new studio, PlayStation exclusive game. They didn't buy the studio, but they brought the name, which I think that's their strategy, and that comes all the way back to Hideo Kojima. I think Hideo Kojima is the first person, and if you look at him as the blueprint of what PlayStation's current strategy is for working with people, it is to not buy studios, it is to give money to people, like the actual, like the creatives, or, they're going for the people who they know have creative vision and can do stuff. So that means going to Hideo Kojima and going, hey, we want to give you a bunch of money, make a game. Sure, it's PlayStation exclusive for a period, but we don't own it. Like, it's yours. we don't own your studio. We're just sort of helping fund it to a bit. It's actually more similar to how the movie world works, really, where, you know, Warner Brothers may make a deal with someone like Christopher Nolan and be like, hey, your next 3 movies, us. We're going to put down $6 million or whatever, you know, $6 million, sort of, it's like a retainer. You make 3 movies for us. We don't own you or the studio. It's just sort of like a preemptive thing. Like, I feel like that's almost what it is. So it's like you go to Jade Raymond, you go, all right, here's like X amount of money. Your next game or 2 is ours. We don't own you. We don't own a studio. We're just sort of putting trust in you as a creative visionary to deliver the goods, sort of thing. There's that other multiplayer studio, which I can't remember the name of, but it's got a bunch of people in it from, you know, massive, they'd worked on massive Call of Duties and stuff, Infinity Ward Studios and all these sort of things. Like, that was announced like late last year. I can't even remember the name of it. They kind of got swept under the rug, but it's like a new studio, bunch of big name people in it. PlayStation's got exclusives to it as they don't own the studio. They just got exclusives to the game. It'll be a PlayStation exclusive first person shooter. Again, PlayStation putting money on the people, not more so the studios and the names and stuff like that. I can't remember. I don't know if you found it quickly. I don't even know with Google search, to be honest. But
I don't know how to.
I can nearly scroll through all of the show notes from like the last 6 months of news on Platt and probably find it there somewhere. But yeah, would you agree that sort of?
Yeah, that's definitely what they're doing. I mean, they're using their money smartly rather than like dumping all their money in massive purchases. You know, it's like using a sports analogy. You know, Xbox is Manchester City with their Saudi-backed billionaire buying the biggest players possible, whereas PlayStation's like, I don't know, Liverpool smartly investing in different characters for different players for their needs and that kind of thing. So,
yeah. And then it's like, if that's the main crux of their strategy, the other part is the other thing you mentioned, which is just their third-party relationships that they're, again, working with, which is all that has worked for them for the entirety of the PS4 period. They've sort of continued it out free now. So again, it's like,
it looks like Firewalk Studios was the name of the multiplayer.
Yeah. Does it have, if you've got it up, does it say like a quick rundown of who they are and stuff like that for people who may not?
Team includes former Destiny, Halo, Apex Legend, and other devs. So Tony Hussew, Ryan Ellis, and Elena Seigman.
And it's an exclusive game, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. See? Not so...
PlayStation published, yeah.
I'm getting old, but... Pull from the memory banks, you know what I'm saying? So I'd say that sort of stuff is... And that's why I would say, if you're for some reason fearful of Sony not having games, I think Sony has been, like... I don't want to say... It sounds weird to say because it sounds like... that that's silly saying of... Xbox playing chess when Sony's playing checkers. But, I mean, to a degree, it's just very obvious that Sony's strategy is completely different to Xbox's. And people are reacting to this news like Sony has been caught off guard and that they all would be sitting in there going, oh my God. Like, I'm sure when the news dropped, they would have heard, like, especially the heads would have had inklings this was going to happen. They wouldn't be, like, completely... But again, I'm sure they were, like, a bit like... Call of Duty is a massive seller on us. That's a bit annoying. We've had a relationship with Activision. I'm sure it's a bit of a bummer, if you want to put it like, it's probably a little bit of a disappointment. But I really don't think the way people are talking about it, where the news came out and Sony's like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? Quick, get us some money so we can buy Square Enix or something. Like, that's such an unnecessary reactionary move when if you... Look, Sony has been doing stuff. Like they've obviously got their own game plan. And you can be like, oh, well, if you're fearful that Sony's plan isn't going to work, fine, whatever. But to say that Sony isn't making any moves or like business decisions and they've just been sitting on their ass for the last 12 months not doing anything, it's just completely wrong. Like but my point is like some news, like was it Fire Access Studios or whatever it was? That was it, right?
Firewalk.
It's stuff like that where my point is, like, that's news, but it doesn't make the Twitter headlines where most people read what's happening, where they just only if it's massive news. So a lot of the general, I guess, gaming audience miss out on this stuff where they're like, oh, well, Sony's doing nothing because they haven't purchased a massive studio. You know, they purchased one or two things last year that was the main news, but otherwise they're like, oh, Xbox has beat them. All right. If Sony was going to buy anything in a reactionary move, go buy some indie studios. You know, like that's if I was to say if Sony had to buy something, if I had to see Sony use money to buy something, go buy some indie studios, like really good ones of recent, and just amplify that new talent.
What's called Hades developer?
Supermassive?
Yeah. Not Supermassive, but Supergiant.
Supergiant, sorry. Yeah. Supermassive's Activision.
Is it?
No, they had publishing with them.
They're published, yeah.
No. Yeah.
Does that mean all those are going to be Xboxes?
No, probably not. Yeah,
they're probably coming to Game Pass.
If they brought something like Supergiant, though, like, to be honest,
I'd be like, hey, let's focus what you're doing.
That would be bigger news to me
Supergiant,
than Xbox, Activision, from a personal taste point of view. You know, like what was more massive for? I'd be like, oh, awesome, more Supergiant games more often. I guess they're backed now. They don't have to do early access. Get the longer. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it helped.
It helps,
Hades
but
a lot. So,
but if they had more time, I guess I don't know. But yeah, I'd say that's what would excite me more personally. But yeah, is there any other random things you thought about this? But
no, I think we've hit most of the things. You know, I think obviously, I think the two big hits will be like, Diablo 4 won't come to PlayStation probably, and Overwatch 2 up in the air. It does make it interesting because it didn't. Oh no, that PlayStation bought the fighting competition, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's not affected. But yeah. I mean, it's obviously Call of Duty is going to be the big thing. So because they kind of built Activision around Call of Duty, so we'll wait and see.
We will have to wait and see. Yeah. All right. So jumping back to Horizon stuff. PlayStation blog writes, meet some of the new companions who will join the next chapter of Aloy's story. Ben McCaw, narrative director, Guerrilla writes, the next chapter of Aloy's story begins on February 18th, and she'll face a storm of new threats, a world-ending blight, Guerrilla and her rebels, Silence and his... Is it Silent? That's the dude, right? Silent? And his machinations.
You just played the game.
Yeah, he wasn't in there. He was, but he was like, it was only his voice or whatever. Plus many new dangers that have yet to be revealed. But she ventures into the frontier of the Forbidden West. Aloy won't face these perils alone. She'll be joined by companions both fresh and familiar, including stalwarts like Varl and Erend, along with new allies like Zoe, Alva, and Kotolo. Today, we're proud to present a new story trailer, which offers you an exciting peek at what lies in the story for Aloy. So I watched this trailer right before recording, to be completely honest, but pretty cool trailer. 3 minutes. Actually sets up, I guess, what the go is. It seems that Aloy is like, the blight or whatever that's affecting the world. So she worries that she needs to find a cause of it to put a stop to it, or else it's going to kill everyone, more or less, is what it seems. Like it's COVID coming in robot form. That's the video game. Then she gets there's like a rebel leader. He wants to kill everyone for some reason. New dino mechanical monsters, places to explore. And then right at the end of the trailer, they reveal fucking Carrie-Anne Moss is in it. For some reason. And I don't know what I don't really know what her character is, other than the end of this trailer, actually, where Carrie-Anne Moss's character shows up. It reminds me of Assassin's Creed. Like when you'd go into, suddenly you'd have these gods and visionaries or whatever speaking to you, and you're playing like 17th century fucking Ezio Auditore or whatever. They'd be like, this is off, but a bit weird. But do you watch this?
Yeah.
What do you think? Excited?
Looks great. Yeah. Giving it when it's only a few weeks away, right?
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks. February 14th.
Yeah. Give it to me.
I was like, what's the official? Yes. So let's say we got like half a week left. So 1, 2. Yeah, it's 3 weeks. Anything stand out in the trailer, like story points or?
No, I feel like most of it we kind of knew. I guess the confirmation silence is going to be more heavily involved. It seems like, because I don't think we'd seen him in many of the trailers.
No, I don't think we'd seen him at all. We didn't see really any other characters other than Aloy, I don't think.
No, so and then bringing back some of the other characters that we knew from the first game as well, like helping her out, like is cool. And then obviously there's some two pretty big name actors like added on top with Angela Bassett and Carrie Moss's characters. So.
Oh, is Angela Bassett? I missed that.
I think she's the hologram person that we show up, but she was listed in another article saying, listing characters or actors in the game. So,
what do you make of this Carrie Moss thing? Then, if I'm like,
I mean, she's trying to outdo Keanu, right?
I'm showing up in video games.
Yeah, I mean, this
she'll be
is
in
the
good
trailer
ones.
that would have been shown at like a live action. if that had been an event like at E3, this is the trailer that would have been shown at the end, and then she would have come out.
I don't think she has the same hype to her, unfortunately. As much as I love Carrie Moss, I don't think she carries the same, we love you, I love you too. But yeah. Pretty good trailer.
Yeah. I guess they had a conversation during the Matrix filming. It's like, hey, video games.
She's like,
they're pretty great.
How do you get into these things?
It's like, whoa.
Video games. Yeah. The other story that came out, I can't remember, I don't have it up, but just off the top of my head, there was one going around where it's like the game's going to have, like, even though it has choices, yes, it will have like a distinct like ending, like direction or whatever. But also from everything I'm reading, definitely doesn't sound like this is the last one, which I think makes perfect sense because they recently did that whole change thing where, you know, this logo has the 2 in it. They changed the logo for the first game, so it has a 1 in it. So I think the fact that they're not like talking about this being the end of the Horizon franchise or anything at 2 games, I think that makes sense, right? So still happy to continue this as a franchise, especially when we get to some news later in the show. I think they're trying to like sort of bolster up Horizon, I guess, as the major franchise. Yeah, I'm like keen, but like I'm not like I don't watch the trailer and get like amped. But also I didn't like love the first game. I'm not saying I didn't like it, obviously. Like I very much enjoyed playing it, but I think especially like on my fond memories with Horizon, just the combat, good, great, loved it when I could remember how to play it. And then just like spending a lot of time taking a lot of photos and just exploring that world and stuff. However, the thing I don't care the thing I care the least about and remember the least about, story, characters, you know? Like, so I'm watching a story trailer, I'm like, yeah, I remember how the game ended, basically, more or less. I remember like the story beats to get there, kinda. I remember like when that dude shows up in the late end of the trailer, I'm like, yeah, he's a character from the first game. Yep, cool. But I just don't have any sort of emotional attachment to any of these characters, if you know what I mean. Like, do you think you care more about story or like you're just sort of similar?
Yeah, well, it has been a while, so I was like, I'm keen to like fall back in love with Aloy and the characters and get to experience the story and explore this world. So yeah. Definitely need a refresh video.
Need like a IGN or whatever bloody Horizon in 10 minutes or whatever there's one of those sort of ones.
Yeah.
Continuing. Press Start writes a Twitter account. PlayStation Game Size has noted Horizon Forbidden West has been uploaded to the PlayStation database and it's going to take up the largest amount of space of any first-party PS5 game yet. So it'll be 96.35 gigabytes here. Do you have that space free?
I will do.
That's.
I mean, I'll say this: I just uninstalled NBA 2K20, which I'd had on my game for ages, because they closed the servers at the end of the year, which I didn't know about. So now I can't access my save because it was attached to online. The career mode was attached to online because you earn points online or whatever. So now I can't access it anymore.
Wait. But you have a local save.
Yeah.
And it's an offline story mode with online elements.
Yeah, but it's got yeah.
And they just turn the servers off so you start a new game, I guess?
I have to start a new one, yeah.
But they fucked everyone who had a save.
Yeah. They announced it on the website, but there was nowhere in the game telling you that servers were going to close.
Or for people who...
I tried to open it like a bunch of times, like, why isn't this working?
That's odd. Yep.
It's heartbreaking.
Interesting.
Halfway through to getting my third championship.
Sorry for you. I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know what that really means, but that sounds fucked. I don't really understand what you're saying, but general save file thing, yes.
PSVR for the
Let's
players.
talk about a little virtual reality, because while I was off, PSVR shit happened. So on January 4th, several million weeks ago, PlayStation blog put up this thing overnight. PlayStation VR 2 and PlayStation VR 2 Sense controller, the next generation of VR gaming on PS5. So, first and foremost, PlayStation VR 2. It's officially the name.
Thank God.
It's officially the name. So PSVR 2 takes VR gaming to a whole new level, enabling a greater sense of presence and allowing players to escape into gaming worlds like never before. With the headset on and controllers in hand, players will feel a heightened range of sensations unlike any other, thanks to the creativity of game worlds being built by our world-class developers and our latest technology incorporated into the hardware. Building upon our innovations from PS5, PlayStation VR 2 adds a true next-gen experience with high-fidelity visuals, new sensory features, and enhanced tracking, along with simplified single-cord setup. So a lot of this, they are confirming what we talked about for rumors and whatever else, but it's all locked in now. So, visual fidelity. For high visual fidelity experience, PSVR 2 offers 4K HDR 110-degree field of view full photoed rendering. With an OLED display, players can expect a display resolution of 200 by 2040 per eye and a smooth frame rates of 90 to 120 Hz. Headset-based controller tracking. With inside-out tracking, PSVR 2 tracks you and your controller through integrated cameras embedded in the VR headset. Your movements and the direction you look are reflected in-game without the need for external camera. New sensory features. PSVR 2 Sense technology combines eye tracking, headset feedback, 3D audio, and the innovative PSVR 2 Sense controller to create an incredible deep feeling of immersion. Headset feedback is a new sensory feature that amplifies the sensations of in-game actions from the player. It's created by a single built-in motor with vibrations that add an intelligent tactile element, bringing players closer to the gameplay experience. For example, players can feel a character's elevated pulse during tense moments, the rush of objects passing close to the character's head, or the thrust of a vehicle as the character speeds forward. Additionally, PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech makes sounds in the player's surroundings come alive, adding to this new level of immersion. Eye tracking. With eye tracking, PSVR 2 detects the motions of your eyes, so a simple look in a specific direction can create an additional input for the game character. This allows players to interact more intuitively in new and lifelike ways, allowing for heightened emotional response and enhanced expression that provides a new level of realism in gaming. All of these advancements in PlayStation VR 2, combined with haptic feedback and adaptive triggers from the PSVR 2 Sense controllers, enable players to feel and interact with games in a much more visceral way. PSVR 2 will have a simple setup process. With a single cable connected directly to PS5, you can immediately jump into the VR experience. So what do you make of all that? You're like, yeah, that sounds fucking exciting. Or you're like, cool.
Cool. I mean, that's everything we knew before, right? Except the name.
Some of it, like the confirmation, like I think some of the stuff that we had been talked about as like probably expected was all the headset having some sort of version of technology built upon the DualSense controllers. You know, like when the DualSense came out and we're like it's got haptic feedback and all this sort of stuff, people it was like sort of like, okay, well obviously PlayStation's probably going to use similar stuff in the headsets or something like that. So I think that's the main thing, I would say.
Yeah.
Eye tracking had more or less been confirmed from leaks from like warehouses or whatever, I guess, and the rest of it was more or less unknown. Yeah, how does all that sensory feature stuff, because I think that's a big part of this will be a big part of how PlayStation pushes to sell it, with a overall, you know, saying that their VR experience is more than you can get on other headsets, between what it'll do to your head and make it like feel like an object just hit you on the back of your face, pair that with the controllers with the same technology as the DualSense, where you've got the haptic feedback and triggers and all this sort of stuff, and then you got the 3D audio and blah 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 blah. Does that all sound like somewhat exciting to like as a selling point?
I mean, potentially. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting concept. It'll be interesting to see how it actually plays out. Like, I don't love the idea, especially as someone who wears glasses, of wearing a VR headset and then the VR headset like rumbling and stuff, because that's just gonna, your glasses are just gonna bump up against the screens inside the VR headset, aren't they?
How? Do you reckon? Or what do you mean?
Like, if the thing's moving, right? Like, when it's just gonna move on your head, like, there's potential for your glasses touching the screens and stuff.
I don't know. I assume the vibration thing will be on the top of your head or like the back, surely. Or like built into, or like one giant.
That doesn't make. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of weird that like you get punched in the face and you feel it on the back of your head.
Or maybe it's just the entire headset, like on the inside, has a giant motor built in, so the entire thing can rumble.
As long as it's turn offable.
it'll 100% be turn offable, because I don't feel like in the year 2022 you could release something like that without like the ability to turn it off.
Yep.
Like in a world where more companies are trying to make sure their accessibility is like as a main focus. But and then the other piece of news that sort of came out of this was, where the fuck have I lost it? The first official game that got announced for it. Nothing of a trailer really, but Guerrilla and Firesprite Games creating a brand new experience in the world of Horizon for PSVR 2. So, created for PSVR 2, this unique experience has been designed to push hardware technology, innovation, and gameplay. The stunning visuals and brand new PSVR 2 sense controls give a new meaning to be fully immersed into the world of Horizon. We don't want to reveal too much yet, but this story will be told through the eyes of an entirely new character. You will also meet Aloy, other familiar faces, and new characters along the way, and we'll be introducing you to the protagonist of Horizon, Call of the Mountain, soon. The trailer is just sort of you see a whatever toll head like thing or whatever off in the distance and stuff like that. But yeah, do you think like one of the complaints I guess about Sony and PSVR was lack of support, lack of big titles, lack of, you know, like that sort of stuff. I think surely if they're announcing a Horizon game as the first step point, that at least has some sort of good faith as it's going to launch with at least big game, hopefully a few more, and then Sony's obviously putting money into like not relying on other third-party games, I guess, to like sell their headset more or less.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like an interesting world. I mean, again, it's only like a very small snippet, but from what we've seen there, it looks like, you know, there was that kayak action game, stealth game. That's what it looks like, except set in Horizon.
Well, they're on a kayak in it, but it's like, is the whole thing going to be on a kayak? That's the main question, obviously.
I mean, that's all I've got to go on. So
yeah, we have like 5 seconds. So I'm going to say the whole thing's not in a kayak, because that would be
okay. Weird.
That would be weird. entire world of Horizon. There's just a river running through the entire world. At one point, you just roll,
It's
you're
an
rolling
on-rail
past,
shooter,
and Aloy's there, like fighting, and like, hey, what's up, girl?
Paddle faster.
What's happening? Yeah, I think this is cool. Obviously, I'm excited to learn more about PSVR 2. I'm still going to say it's launching this year. How do you feel?
PSVR 2 depends on the like chip shortage and stuff. So
Yeah. All right. I'll say as long as the chips, I think Sony's hoping to launch it this year. I'm going to hope that it launches this year. I think their plan is to launch it this year.
Yep.
With that, yeah, I think Sony's planning to launch it this year, as long as they don't get fucked by chip shortages. And I'm looking forward to it. I'd happily buy one. I think it's really good. I think obviously the main thing is, hey, it's not completely wireless, one cord, but one cord.
Big difference.
That's it's one USB-C cord. In you go. When you're done, wrap that bad boy up, store it away. Plug it in. You don't need a stupid box with all these HDMI. That was one that obviously the major
You don't need a
points.
camera.
Don't need a camera.
So that like opens everything up a fair bit.
Yeah.
Like
you don't need a major setup. You're good to go. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's definitely going to be one of the main things for people who, and look, obviously I loved my PSVR when it first came out, but as soon as I got Oculuses, and I've had 2 now, it's like, why would I play? Why it's so much hassle to set the PSVR up. Not to mention it doesn't look and run as well. The move controls and whatever else. Like it made it really hard. I was like, I really want to support PSVR. Like you're fucking like it's taking a long time. So we're getting a proper refresh though. We're getting a brand. All the specs sound great. The one cord, it's not cordless. That's fine. I think like obviously the thing is they get to rely on the power of the PS5 to help power some of this thing. And then put more technology in the headset, I guess, like sort of evens out, so that's fine. One cord's fine. Hopefully they're putting more time into games. You got Horizon announced already. I'm keen. I hope it does come out this year because I would be excited to check it out for sure. All right, and another thing. Yeah.
One question.
Yeah.
Are you going to trade in your PSVR this year?
How much reckon I can get for that?
I don't know.
$50?
I checked on eBay before, and people were trying to sell them for like $150. Actually, some people are trying to sell in used $480. So,
I mean, maybe. The main reason I never got rid of it is because I never liked the idea of not having it in case something random happened. You know, like PlayStation randomly dropped a must-play game. Because
Iron Man 2.
Yeah, like honestly, Iron Man was the last thing that I think I played on it. I think. Maybe I've dipped into some other things after that, like briefly. I'm not sure. But Iron Man was definitely the last major game, as far as I can think of, that was released for PSVR that I had a reason to actually like hook that in and had to play it on PSVR was Iron Man. So I always wanted to not get rid of it in case something random, like another Iron Man or something was released. I'm like, fuck, I better, I want to play this, got to cover this, you know. So maybe I'll trade it in, maybe I'll just keep it, and then I'll just trade it in for a lot less value when I actually know the release date and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm good, you know. Like, don't trade it in tomorrow. Trade it in when I know the PSVR 2's around the corner, sort of thing. Yeah. And then the last thing, in wrapping up this episode, not really discussion, but just pulse check. Excited for an Uncharted movie? It's this year. We're in the year now. We're in the year. We're in the year.
Less than a month.
Yeah, less than a month. We're in the year of both Uncharted movie and The Last of Us series.
Potentially.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm keen to go to the cinema and check it out. You know? I don't know. Were we here the last time they showed that they released that clip of like the whole airplane sequence?
No, and they put out like a behind the scenes thing this morning. So
yeah,
but
I mean, it looks cool. I want to see how he survives that.
I mean, have you played Uncharted 3? I can tell you. During spoilers, because there's no way it doesn't play out the exact same way. I guarantee it plays out the exact same way.
Probably.
All bets on. All right. That'll do it for the inaugural 2022 episode of Platinum Explosion. Let us know any comments, questions, concerns you've had with the show, or what you're most excited about for PlayStation 2022. Anything you'd like to see us do on the show, discuss, talk about more, whatever. Let us all know. You can tweet at us, explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. Takes you to a Twitter list with us. explosionnetwork.com/Discord lets you join our Discord. Come talk there. And if you like the episode or like the show in general and want to support and help keep the lights on throughout this year, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support where you can donate as little as $1 or more, one-off, recurring. Love to see it. Over at our Ko-fi page. Until next week, remember, every trophy counts.